How to get better sleep and fall asleep fast. Proven 5-step process. Ever struggle with getting to sleep or staying asleep? Or maybe you actually get lots of sleep, yet you still feel foggy and run down during your day. These all point to a serious problem: poor sleep habits. Habits that deplete your energy, hurt your health, and diminish the quality of your life. Whether you're aware of these habits or not, many of us take sleep for granted. However, we spend around a third of our lives asleep, which means it's crucially important. So if you generally find yourself tossing and turning or hitting the snooze button too often in the morning or counting way too many sheep before falling asleep, this video is for you. So tune in to reclaim the power of sleep and make every waking moment happier, healthier, and more energized. Here, you'll find videos that will help you achieve a sound mind in a sound body. My company aims to help you realize your highest potential. Today, we will be talking about how you can get better sleep. My goal is to have you on your way to getting more restful sleep this very night. We all know about the benefits of getting enough quality sleep. Few things harm us more than not getting it. If we don't sleep well, we don't feel well, and we certainly don't perform well. It's as simple as that. But the advice we often hear is this: just get more sleep. But more sleep is not necessarily always better. Instead of trying to sleep more, we should focus on trying to sleep better. Of course, many of us could still use more sleep as well, but really, we should focus on quality, not quantity. And that's what we'll discuss in this video. So let's get started. Tip number 1, consistency. Consistency means sleeping at the same time and waking up at the same time. And we do that every single day, even during the weekends. Some of you might be thinking, what? Even the weekends? But that's when I party and prefer to sleep when the sun rises. Trust me, I understand why this tip might not sound too fun. I like to have fun myself, especially during weekends. But, if you just try this tip for a little while, you'll notice your weekends actually feeling more energized and you'll actually be better able to enjoy them. And besides, how the heck is, waking up hungover in some random bar or apartment any fun? Then you'll end up spending the rest of the weekend and even some days of the following week trying to recover. But I hear you, this tip is hard. It requires tons of discipline and late night weekends are very alluring. But let's dig down for a bit to explore exactly what the roadblocks are. Why is setting a consistent bedtime and sticking to it so hard? First, I think many of us have a bad relationship with sleep. We think about it as a chore. I used to, and this mentality probably stems from childhood when our parents forced us to sleep at a certain time. That's no fun either. But now that you're a bit grown up now, with more responsibilities to deal with, perhaps more people to care for, and then all the more you should consider sleep to be precious. Think of it as a reward. Sleep is your reward for working hard and having a productive day. You can also think of sleep as a blessing. Not everyone in the world has the luxury to lie down on a nice, comfy bed at night to rest. So this is your first step. Think of sleep as a reward or a blessing. It might feel a little awkward at first, but soon enough, you really start to believe it. The point is that you want to cultivate a genuine sense of gratitude for your ability to sleep. Again, it's a precious thing. The second reason I think many of us have a hard time being consistent with our sleep is that we don't know why we should be consistent. Like, what's the point, you might ask? Well, the simple reason: science. Just pure science, that's why. Specifically, it has to do with something called the circadian rhythm. Simply put, this rhythm makes up our body's very own biological clock. It tells us when we should go to sleep and when we should wake up. And to accomplish this task, it makes our body produce a number of hormones. One such hormone is called melatonin. And not only does melatonin tell us when we should go to sleep and when we should wake, but it also greatly affects the quality of sleep we get. Have you ever gone to sleep at an unusual time and then waking up super crappy even though you got 8 hours of sleep or maybe even more? Well, this is because you weren't sleeping during hours your body was producing peak levels of sleep hormones. You see, these sleep hormones, not only help us get sleep and get to sleep, but they also help us sleep more efficiently while we're sleeping. So if we can help our circadian rhythm by snoozing at consistent times, then we're much closer to our goal of getting more refreshing, revitalizing sleep each night. Maybe you're thinking that it's impossible to go to bed at the same time every night. Well, you're right in some ways. That's probably an unrealistic goal, because on occasion you'd like to go out with friends or you have some late night event you need to attend. That's fine. We don't have to be 100% perfect. Just do your best. Take those occasional nights off from your strict bedtime regimen, and then the next night, just get back to it. Reserve your nights off for the important stuff, not for watching random Netflix movies or browsing random internet sites. But on the other days, go to sleep and wake up at the same time. Don't stay up just to watch Netflix or browse the internet. Just go to sleep and resume your usual bedtime as soon as you can. So, how do you begin? Starting tonight, I suggest you take a couple of weeks to keep a consistent bedtime. This will allow your body to reset that internal clock and start functioning like it's supposed to. But if you're normally a night owl, one who really values your personal me time at night, I know this first step can be a challenge. So what I'd recommend you do is try getting up earlier, maybe a couple of hours before you normally do. Then you'll have those couple extra hours in the morning all to yourself, and you won't feel like you're missing out. Take it from me, someone who used to literally wake up past lunchtime every weekend, but now I easily wake up at 5 a.m. every single morning. I have more free time to myself and I have more energy in my day. It's really much more natural. One more tip about sleep, specifically about naps. Try to skip them. Why? Because naps can mess with your normal sleep cycle and make it harder to fall asleep at night. But if you really need to take a nap, then I'd recommend you taking a coffee nap. What is that? Well, to do this, drink a cup of coffee and take a 15 to 20 minute nap afterwards. But not any longer. This is critical. By the time you wake up, the caffeine will have started working its magic and you'll feel refreshed and awake. So again, drink the coffee and then take the nap right away. And then let the coffee do its magic while you're taking a nap. Tip number 2, light. Aside from how consistently you go to bed at the same time at night, there's another factor that greatly affects your circadian rhythm, and that's light exposure. When we're exposed to blue light, our bodies think it's daytime. Now, we're not nocturnal animals by nature, so when it actually is daytime, our bodies want to be awake. This is why we produce awake hormones like cortisol when we're exposed to blue light. But before I go any further, I want to mention something. Although blue light is the main culprit in screwing with your sleep, studies have found that all bright lights can make you feel more alert. Therefore, keep your lights dim before going to sleep. Okay, so back to blue light. Today, there are numerous sources of blue light in our environment, and we want to avoid them all for at least 1 hour before going to bed, preferably 2. The sources we need to avoid are lights from telephones, computers, and TV screens. We want to avoid white and blue LEDs and all fluorescent lighting. Now, I know it can be hard to stay away from your devices at night. If so, one thing you could do is install something called F-Lux on your devices. That's F.Lux. That's a program that reduces the amount of blue light a screen will emit. Alternatively, you can place blue blocking glasses on yourself or screen protectors over your device's screen. This last technique is my favorite. But of course, truly the best option is to simply turn off the devices. Now, our circadian rhythm controls not only when we should go to sleep, but also when we should wake up. This means that we must also pay attention to our light exposure during daytime. In the morning, we want to be exposed to as much light as possible. Sunlight is best, but if that is difficult for you, depending on where you live or how you start your days, any bright light will help. So doing this will tell your body that it's time to be awake and active, which also means that when night approaches, your body will naturally start to wind down and prepare for sleep. One other thing about light. You should also be mindful to minimize exposure to it when you're asleep. I highly recommend investing in blackout curtains. It can make your sleep so much more peaceful and restorative. It's like sleeping in a cave, which is natural. Okay, well, the last two tips were a little lengthy, so before diving into the next one, let me take a quick breather here to introduce you to my Ultimate Energy Crash Course. You can get a free copy at activatedbody.com. As you'll remember, this video's second tip was about how to use light to your advantage. That's an example of an environmental hack. The Ultimate Energy Crash Course will share even more hacks like these on with different elements, and they're all aimed to help you realize your best health. Again, visit activatedbody.com for your free copy, or click on the link right below this video. Tip number 3, temperature. We have evolved as humans to live according to certain natural rules. One quote-unquote rule is that it should be bright at daytime and dark at nighttime. Similarly, we evolved with another rule, which is that it should be warmer at daytime and cooler at nighttime. So, what does this all mean? Yes, you got it. Temperature is yet another important factor affecting our sleep. You want to make sure you cool down your body before going to sleep. You can accomplish this a couple of different ways. For example, you could take a cold bath or drink a big glass of ice water. But the best way would be to keep your bedroom cool, of course. Your bedroom should be anywhere from 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 16 to 20 degrees Celsius. Of course, comfort is also a big part of sleep, so if this is too cold for you, then instead of turning up the heat, you should rather get a nice and comfy sheet or duvet for your bed. Also be sure to avoid tight clothing. Keep them loose so your body has the room to breathe. Tip number 4, nutrition. Now let's proceed with nutrition, which also actually influences your sleep. When you sleep, your body is still burning up energy, and it's working full force to restore and clean up your body for the day ahead. So even though you might be lying completely still, your body still needs energy to perform its duties. When we don't provide our bodies with energy in the form of good nutrition before we sleep, then there's a very good chance we'll wake up in the middle of the night. So, if you have a problem with staying asleep through the whole night, you might want to consider having a light snack before bed. Honey is a great snack for this. Some people benefit from consuming carbs even before bed, and some do better with fat. I personally like to have chamomile tea, which is calming and soothing, with honey, and this is raw natural honey, and also some coconut oil, which I blend all together so the drink gets super creamy and delicious. More than just filling you up so you don't wake up hungry at night, there are also certain foods that can actually promote sleep. Foods like cheese and turkey, for example, have good levels of an amino acid called tryptophan. Tryptophan eventually gets converted into melatonin, which is a sleep hormone. You could also have a glass of tart cherry juice, which is already high in melatonin. Now, if you want to try supplementing with melatonin, do so infrequently and make sure you use microdoses most of all. So consume micrograms, not milligrams. We don't need more melatonin than that. And getting more might screw up with your natural melatonin production. But back to natural sleep aids. Another one I'd recommend is apple cider vinegar with honey. Now, the science is a bit iffy on this one and why it works, but it really does work. Just try it out, you'll be amazed. So I put 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and 1 tablespoon of honey in my tea at night. And it really just knocks me out. Tip number 5, exercise. So the next tip is all about exercise, but I doubt you're surprised. You've probably heard about this before, so I won't spend too much time on it, but the reason you've likely heard about it is because it really works. If you make sure to get enough exercise during the day, you'll naturally feel more tired at night and fall asleep faster and easier. Just make sure not to exercise too close to your bedtime. Have you ever been able to sleep breathless at night, huffing and puffing? Probably not. But about breathing, I actually would recommend performing breathing exercises close to bedtime. Box breathing works best for me. So I breathe in for 4 seconds, hold my breath for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, then keep my lungs empty 4 seconds, and then I repeat this 10 times. It definitely helps relax me before bed, and it doesn't take a long time to do at all. Tip number 6 is journaling. Alright, just one extra bonus tip basically. There was just a study recently published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology that showed that writing in a journal for a couple of minutes before hitting bed helped people sleep. But you can't just write anything. No, you should write a to-do list. The study said that participants, and I quote, were randomly assigned to write about tasks that they needed to remember to complete the next few days, so a to-do list, or about tasks they had completed the previous few days, completed list. Participants in the to-do list condition fell asleep significantly faster than those in the completed list condition. So, you should be writing a to-do list before drifting off to sleep. I recently incorporated this into my own routine, and it has definitely helped me feel good about tomorrow, so that I could sleep more soundly tonight. So, before closing, please let me take another moment to remind you to visit activatedbody.com to grab your free copy of the Ultimate Energy Crash Course. If you're someone actively looking to improve the quality of your sleep, I'm guessing that you're also looking to improve the quality of your overall health, as well as your energy levels. So let my free course help you do just that. Click on the link in the description below this video. I hope this episode has inspired you to get better sleep. Try one or more tips today or tonight and gradually work your way toward incorporating all of them into your life. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below and I will personally respond back to you. And if you want to uncover other ways to optimize your health, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.